Hey guys, I'm Ubiru. Welcome back to World of Tanks. We are on the 9.7 test server. It's going to be live in the next couple of weeks, so I thought I'd look at some of the tanks. Today I'll be looking at the M56 Scorpion, which is the new American Tier 7 premium tank destroyer. Now the M56 Scorpion is the pinnacle of glass cannons in this game. It has the least amount of armor at the moment from any tank in the game. It has 1mm on the front, 1mm on the side, and 1mm on the back. And just by looking at the tank here, you can see from the back that the ammunition is actually stored just beneath the gun, so you can very easily get a ammo rack just by hitting that, and it will destroy the tank in no time. So the M56 Scorpion can be penetrated from any direction, from any angle, from any type of shell in the game, all the way down to Tier 1. And it's very easy for, if you were firing high explosive at this thing, to damage the gun and destroy the gun. There is practically no armor on this. Yes, it's fairly well angled at the front, but it's 1mm thick. It will penetrate and it will do full damage. So if you see this thing on the enemy team, the best thing to do is to fire high explosive. The high explosive shell will penetrate and do full damage. So first look at this tank. It looks terrible. It has no armor. It's just a gun carrier essentially, and that's what it is. It's a gun carrier. It's a car with no armor with a gun on top. That's all this tank is. But despite that, the gun is very good. Now this is only Tier 7. Tier 7 guns, tank destroyer guns, aren't very good at this tier, unless of course it's the German second tank destroyer tier line, which have very, very overpowered guns with high reloads. Or the SU-152, for instance, which has that high damage HE shells. But this isn't bad at all. So let's start with the main stats of the tank. So hit points. 820 hit points. So that's about average for a Tier 7 tank destroyer. They usually range between sort of 800 and 850. Before I saw the stats of this tank, I did think that the hit points would be less than 820. So 820 is not bad and quite respectable. The next stat is the weight. Now this thing weighs practically nothing, 7.5 tons. Well, pushing on 7.5 tons. If anything rams this thing, it will be destroyed straight away from pretty much anything in the game. The only thing that really weighs less than this are sort of Tier 1 to Tier 3 tanks. Yeah, it weighs nothing. This thing can be killed very easily if it's spotted. But obviously the primary function of this tank is to hide, to remain hidden, and to fire from the forests, from the shadows, and remain hidden. So the engine of this tank has 200 horsepower, so that's pretty respectable, considering that it only weighs 7.5 tons. That pretty much pushes this to a sort of power to weight ratio of around 25, so it can get to its top speed of 45 very quickly. Yeah, the top speed is 45 kph. That's not bad. I wouldn't use this thing as sort of hit and run tactics. It has such a high camo rating that you should utilize the camo of this tank to remain hidden and to fire at the enemy from the forests. So, the gun. Let me pop up the equivalent Tier 7 tank destroyer guns and we'll compare. Okay, so this is the main gun of the M56 Scorpion, which is the 90mm in caliber, 7.69 rounds per minute, 290mm of penetration with its just standard armor-piercing rounds, 275mm with gold ammunition, and 45 with high explosive ammunition. 240 damage for basic, 240 for gold, and 320 for high explosive. Now the dispersion range of this gun is only 0.33, which is pretty accurate for Tier 7. One of the more accurate guns across the other sort of Tier 7 tank destroyers, as you can see here. Aiming time of 2 seconds and only weighs 1.1 tons. So that's a very good gun. So I flashed up the main guns with similar competency to the Scorpion's gun. These are all Tier 7 tanks guns. They are not always the best, but they are the same sort of thing. So SU-100, we didn't choose the first Soviet Union line because they always have the ridiculous caliber and high explosive damage. This is 100mm in caliber, has a higher rate of fire, lower penetration, lower gold penetration. Because of the caliber, it has higher high explosive penetration and it has higher average damage. It does have faster aiming speed and the same dispersion range. The Scorpion's gun is actually very decent for its tier. So we have here the Jagdpanther's Tier 8 gun, which is the best 88mm gun. It has a higher rate of fire, it has lower penetration again, it has the same basic damage, it has higher accuracy, and it has a slower aiming time. Now these two guns are pretty similar, but of course the higher penetration of the Scorpion really counts, because this thing, despite it being a premium tank, you will run into some tier 9 games, and you will need that extra penetration. Now the third gun here, which is the American equivalent, exactly the same, but it's down the original tier line instead of premium. We have the T15E2 gun, which is the same caliber. It's from both tier 7 tank destroyers. We have here about the same sort of rate of fire. It's very slightly faster. It has a substantially less penetration for its standard armament by 49. So it has the same damage, it has worse accuracy and a better aiming time. Now, this gun is, again, a lot worse than the Scorpion's gun. Scorpion's gun is very high in penetration and a very good gun overall. And the last one I'm going to compare is the second German line Ubiru Tier 7 tank destroyer. So it has a much higher caliber, it has a slower rate of fire, it has worse penetration. Of course, the Emil doesn't have gold ammunition. 231 versus 219, there's not a huge difference there. The damage is substantially more, the accuracy is worse, and the aiming time is worse. And this is from a glass cannon tank. So you can compare these two as glass cannon tank guns. I would definitely go with the Scorpion over the Ubiru. Just for that, you get extra accuracy, you get more rate of fire, you got about the same penetration, and it's got a better aiming time. So yes, it's got higher damage, but you'll be firing more and more often with this than you would with this. So the Scorpion's gun is very good overall. It matches up very well with many of the other tier 7 tank destroyers, both premium and tier line. So the maneuverability of this tank is 40 for traverse speed, which is, it's not bad. You know, this thing can do full circles, it can go at full speed and flee when necessary, but that isn't your primary objective. Your primary objective really is to just keep away from the enemy by hiding as opposed to fleeing. So the gun has some issues. The gun doesn't turn very fast. It only has a 12-degree speed for gun traverse, and it only turns to 30 degrees on each side. So that's pretty pathetic. You can't get this gun all the way around like some tanks in this game. It's a bit of an issue when you want to shoot at a moving target and then he moves out of your field of view and you have to move the tank. And when you move the tank, you lose all your camo bonus, and then you get spotted, and then you die. So the view range and signal range of the tank. So we have 350 meter view range, which is not bad. Again, it's about average for this tier. But I've chosen the boost, which boosts the view range by 25% when I'm stationary. This thing will be stationary most of the time, hiding in forests. Its camo rating is very good, one of the best in the game so far. So I would utilize that as best as possible by hiding. And there's no better tank really, in my opinion, to use the binoculars buff for increased view range. So when it's increased by 25%, it goes to a max distance of 437 meters. So this tank only has a signal range of 500 meters. Now that's not very good in comparison to many of the other tank destroyers in the game at this tier. A lot of them have signal ranges of in excess of 700 meters. So this is at a bit of a disadvantage in only having 500 meters. But of course, it's a premium tank, so there has to be a trade-off somewhere. It has a good gun, it has amazing camo rating, and the trade-off here is very clearly the signal range. So the mods I've chosen for this tank are as follows. We have here the binoculars, as I mentioned earlier, which is the 25% increase in view range when I'm stationary, which is necessary. We have the decreased reload time, which is the gun rammer, minus 10% reload. So our minimum reload time here is only 6.73 seconds, which isn't too slow, and it's not too fast either, so we can't really complain. And the third one here, I could have chosen a further increase in view range, but I did go with the standard camouflage net, just to maintain that camo rating when I'm stationary, which will be most of the time. I want to maintain that camo bonus. I don't want to be spotted. As soon as I'm spotted in this thing, I die, so I have to be very careful. Ammunition, now I'm on the test server, so I could very easily just go full gold, but I've done a split here of something I would do in the live game. I have majority armor piercing. I haven't chosen any high explosive in this. It's only around 45mm, so that's not really going to penetrate much, and you're not really going to focus on artillery, etc. So I've chosen the armor piercing, which is a standard 220mm penetrating shells. So unfortunately, you don't get the APCR, which is the high penetration standard AP shells. on this tank, but you do get heat. Of course, heat is usually worse than APCR. Heat does more penetration overall. So if you hit spaced armor, then the heat shell would mysteriously disappear and you would do no damage. So the ammunition loadout I would have is sort of 34 rounds of AP and 9 rounds of heat. I wouldn't really go with HE on this tank. So I've chosen some perks for the crew of the tank. I've chosen here the 6 cents perk, which I shouldn't have really taken at the start. I should go with camo for all 4, wait for camo to go 100%, and then put gold into this, reset it and make it go 6 cents, and then do camo straight after. That was a mistake I did on this, but no matter. Once you have full camo, I would go for 6 cents, I would go for Deadeye, increased crit damage on guns, I would go for safe stowage, and the last one I chose here is the smooth ride. This thing does have pretty good suspension. It can move quite quickly across terrain, but it can be an issue moving across sort of denser terrain. So yeah, that's the main aspects of the M56 Scorpion. So it's a very, very good glass cannon. As long as this thing remains hidden, you can do a lot of damage. I can see this tank as being a favourite of many good players of World of Tanks. So yeah, let's look at some games with the Scorpion. Okay, this is the M56 Scorpion on Westfield, standard battle. So before I go into the actual position of the map where I'd like to go, I'll show you how this gun operates. So the gun actually has amazing gun depression, as you can see here. I mean, look at that. That means it can push hills and stay in cover, so very, very good. And not only that, it also goes up at a pretty respectable degree as well. So I'm going to go in this corner over here, usually the best option for a tank like this. So glass cannons usually operate best over here where the forests are, good for cover and good to fire on the enemy. Now the enemy is usually lurking over the hills over there. This is the test server, so people might be a bit more risky with their tanks as no stats actually count. So the ISU is in front of us and a Scorpion as well. Going to fire one round on the Scorpion, did 260 damage, which is not bad. Reload in 3 seconds. And he's down. So we've got 1 kill already. I'm going to maneuver just in case we've been spotted, and we have to be very careful about their artillery. So the ISU's now popped around. I think the ISU's now within range. Maybe not. Going to go back into cover. There is in fact an IS-6 in the base over there. Now the important thing for me to do now is to stop and stay in cover. If you move in this tank, you very easily get spotted and you can very easily die. So the R&B behind me, he did perish, he did die. He was spotted and I wasn't. So that, I think the camo rating of this tank rivals that of the R&B. So the Sturry Mill is pushing the corner. Sturry Mill has amazing gun depression, better than this tank by a few degrees. I think the Sturry Mill in fact has the best gun depression in the game. It's ridiculous how far the gun goes down. So the ISU is still in front of us, but it seems there's quite a lot of manoeuvring of the enemy on the left. So the T-44 is coming round, probably in a flanking manoeuvre. We're just going to cover the flank, help our allies as best we can. Now the VK as well. The VK is a very fast, big scout tank. As soon as he pops up this corner, we should be able to finish him off. He's actually in the forest, and he's moved along on the forest. So now we're a bit safer now. The ISU's been killed and the SU as well. So we're going to pop round and try and kill the T-44. There's still some very good tanks on their team, including the new prototype T-54s, which are very agile and they have a lot of armour. So we have to be very careful about where we go. But it seems that the team is crowding very much around that T-44. We still have our camo bonus, but it seems most of the enemy medium tanks are on the other side of the map. And the VK is now in capping distance of our base. Now I know we are one shot from most of the tanks on the enemy team. It does say that I am a tier 8 tank on the left. It seems that this version of XVM is broken, because in the test server this tank is a tier 7 tank. So we're edging towards this R&B. We are winning the match by quite a margin now. In the test server, people tend to play their tanks a bit silly, a bit stupid, so the games tend to end very quickly. If you play it very slowly and cautiously, you're more likely to get a good score than those that rush. I've spotted the T-54 across the map. I'm going to fire one round into him. There we are, 267 damage, not bad, and the ally finished him off, and the R&B as well. So the enemy Scorpion is just across the map there. See if I can get a shot on him. I think he can't see me at this distance, and our allies might finish him off before me. Going to fire a shot anyway. 272 damage, and our allied finished him off. So there's a couple of tanks left. It seems there's one T-54 Mark 1, which is over there, near their spawn. And they have a VK, which was near our base, which took out our artillery. So I'm going to pop around this corner and try and defend the cap from the VK, which is a threat at this point. So the T-54 will be managed by our team. And there is the VK. So the VK is coming now. I have to lead these shots quite well. The accuracy is very good. 216 damage. Not a very high damage roll there. One more in 1 second. And we finished the VK off. So not bad. So one tank left, which is the T-54 Mark 1. And we're going to help our team finish him off. So he's hidden there. Going to fire once. Yeah, oh, there we are. 212 damage. And our team finished him off. Good game. We did alright in that game. We didn't have any times by 2 bonuses, but we got 969 base experience. That was with premium, and we got 41,000 credits. And we also got Master Badge 2, which is not bad. In terms of experience, we came 6th on the team, we got 2 kills, and we had 1,400 damage. And of all the shots fired, we got penetrations, and we got 100% accuracy in shots. So let's try one more game. Okay, this is a Kharkov, the standard battle. We're in a tier 8 match this time. Now, city maps aren't usually the best for this type of tank. You're best hiding in forests and firing from the forests. In this, I had to play a bit more aggressively, which is not really what I want to do in this tank. So I'm going to push down the right and hopefully get within range of the enemy medium tanks. So there is some cover I can take just over here, which is I can make it myself if I knock down this tree, which is probably the best form of cover for a tank like this on this map. So the enemy is pushing towards the center, which is as expected. The enemy Su-122 is just over there. Now they have a very good gun, up to 400 average damage. But they should have some medium tanks that rush around this corner as well soon, so I have to anticipate that. So I am on my own, which is usually not the best situation to be in a tank as weak as this. But hopefully I can use my camo rating to my advantage. Su-122 is now pushed further back that way. Now the Tiger 1 is pushing this way, so I need to be a bit more careful and probably get the hell away. I don't really want to be there when the Tiger appears. Maybe I can push, maybe I can use this cover to effectively attack the enemy. And have a shot here on the Tiger. And we finished him off. Very high accuracy, and we got it. The Su-122 has spotted us, so now we have to back off. We don't want his gun firing at us, or any gun for that matter. If he fires high explosive, then he can kill us very easily. And it's very easy to get an ammo rack kill on this tank as well. So he's still in that same position. He has some good armor, but we can penetrate it with this good gun. And now he's down. So there's not a lot left on the enemy team, and our team for that matter, so we can sort of push a bit forward and assist the team. In the later stages of the match, you can push with your team, as it's a bit safer to do then. So the STA-2 is just over there, hiding behind that building. He's going to peek any second now, and we're going to put a shot into him. And the T-34 finished him off. So the Lurver's coming around the corner now, and the Lurver is a big threat. Lots of armor, lots of damage. If we get around him, which we can do in this tank with the good maneuverability, we could hopefully get some good damage. Now the Scorpion has appeared there, but our primary target now is the Lurver, because he's being frontally attacked by the Tiger 2, and he needs some help on the rear. There's one shot, 263 damage. He should now focus on us, and the Tiger 2 should press, should do some damage to him now. He's not doing any damage. Wait for him to fire so I can steal the kill, and thank you very much. MX-5100, auto-loading gun. Can't engage him myself, so I have to go with the team, but he is now capping the base. Now we have a T-54 Mod 1, which has a sort of very good 300 damage gun. Pushing around the corner here. If I go around this corner here, I've been sort of proximity spotted by the T-54. I will be very quickly killed by the T-50. Now I have to wait sort of 3 or 4 seconds before I can emerge, so I can actually get this AMX, and there we are. Now we're pushing. Now you couldn't see me, so he couldn't do any shots on me. So the AMX is now, seems like he's sort of defending our cap. Let my ally sort of emerge first, see where he's pointing his gun, and then play chicken with him. Now there's only sort of 3 or 4 enemy tanks left, and now we're going to push. Push, push, push. I don't know if he's reloading. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. There we are, 200 damage. He's gonna ram us for a few damage, but we're so low profile. Maybe we can get the gun up before we've done it. 206 damage, and our team finished him off. So great. Usually in that you would not do that in this tank. You would not frontally engage anything, but I was quite lucky, and the team managed to save me. So very good. They have 2 left. What do they have? They have two tanks left. SU-100, and if we can finish them off now. Got the SU-100, T-71 left, last tank on the team. Our gun does average of sort of 200 damage. Missed him that time, the accuracy is good, but maybe not that good. 21 health left, is he going to go within range of my gun? I missed that time, 21 health. Still going to miss. And he's off my radar, so that's a bit of a shame. There is 9 minutes left of the match, so we will be able to hunt him down and finish him off. And we didn't do so bad, we got 3 kills, not a huge amount of damage. Usually a tank like this would not do very well on a city map. You're very easy to kill, you're a glass cannon. If you get shot, then you die. I was very lucky to get away from the AMX and survive. So in terms of that game, we got 39,000 credits and 1,100 base experience, and again we got the Mastery Badge 2nd class. We did miss some shots that time, and what damage did we get? We got 891 damage, 3 kills, and in terms of experience we came again 6th on the team. So this tank, in my opinion, will perform far better in a forest map where you can utilize the trees around you and your camo rating, so you can fire over and over again, use that quick reload to fire over and over again into the enemy, doing lots and lots of damage, much like how the R&B uses its camo rating to fire and do lots of damage. This thing is exactly the same. So the M56 Scorpion, a very good tank overall. Shame about the armor, but the gun very much makes up for that. It performs very well in forest maps, not so well in city maps, but if need be, you can flank enemies if they're being frontally engaged by a heavy tank on heavy tank. You can get behind in an emergency situation and assist the team, but it can't take hits. As you could see in the last game I had with AMX 5100, I got hit once. I managed to dodge 1 shell. I very nearly died. He rammed me for half my health. This thing can die very easily. The best thing to do in this tank is to hide and to maintain that camo rating. So the M56 Scorpion will be released in the 9.7 update, which is set to be released in the next week or so. Very good tank overall. So I'm not sure how much the M56 Scorpion costs when it's released in 9.7, but I will update in the comment section below. I would highly recommend this tank. It's a lot of fun to play, and it gets the job done. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.